Softer than a block of butter on a summer day. Rick Tocchet thinks the Canucks are too soft. But what do we think? Well, guess what? You're listening to two of the softest guys around. It's Begsy and it's Bhawan, and you're listening to Locked On Canucks.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, and thanks for hitting the play button on today's episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor McSofty Beggs, Canucks writer and part-time credentialed media member for Daily Hive Vancouver. And this episode is brought to you by the Gametime app. Create an account and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Before we dive into the show, we want to thank you for listening to Locked On Canucks, your team every day. Subscribe or follow for free on YouTube or wherever you get podcasts. On today's show, we're going to talk about the Canucks' surprisingly electric penalty kill, Rick Tocchet's comments about the team being soft, but first, I want to introduce one of the softest guys I know, Kyle Bhawan. How you doing, buddy?
You actually think I'm soft? Yeah, I think I'm hard as a rock. Actually, these days I am kind of soft. I'm not going to lie. Again, been going to the gym for a very long time in this thing called my life. But over the last 2 years, since, I guess got wifed up, I've been, not sweating at the gym, working way less harder at the gym. So I'm kind of soft. It is what it is. I kind of like it. Not gonna lie.
It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I think in terms of hockey talk, being soft isn't good, but I know how much that you like the cuddles, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with being soft, bro.
Dude, who doesn't like the cuddles? Okay. Anyways, enough about me. It's a Canucks show, and enough about me because it's about you, the fans. We'll get to comment corner at the end of the show. I will say off the top because, honest person, honest podcast. I'm a fan first guy. Trevor Beggs, a family first guy. Trevor didn't even want to run the segment because we only had 2 comments. Okay. And I'm like, dude, those 2 comments count. Anywho, it's a Canucks show, not a Trevor Beggs, Kyle Bhawan show. The Canucks are soft. Is this a bad thing? I think so. How about you?
Yeah, well, Rick Tocchet is clearly not a fan of the situation. So let's just get into some comments from Rick Tocchet following the 4-1 loss to the Los Angeles Kings on Sunday. So Miller kind of said it first. So again, when you're doing media, you start by talking to the players, and then when you're done with that, you go talk to the coach. So Miller said that the Canucks are, quote, a little too soft right now, and it doesn't feel like we're hard to play against. That's what Miller said. And then when Tocchet was asked about a post game, he agreed, and he said, quote, we've got to address that. Whether that's personnel or whatever, we're a little light in battle situations. That to me is body position and technique. In practice, we teach it and do it, but when the pressure hits in games, we lose our technique. Whether it's your back against a guy with your stick and somehow we have our backs up against the boards, you can't play that way in this league. It's why we have to develop some of those guys and find out who can do that for us. So interesting quotes from Tocchet. I think, what stood out, whether that's personnel or whatever. This is hinting to some potential offseason changes, Kyle. But, I guess I got 2 questions for you. They teach you not to do that in journalism school, but I'm going to do it anyways. Are the Canucks too soft? And B, if they are too soft, what should they do about it?
Yeah, I think the Canucks are too soft. And again, fans saying this, I'm not a professional athlete, right? What the do I know? I'll bleep that out. What do I know, right? These guys have a different level of compete, a different level of motor. But then again, we're talking about professional sports, and this team has not done well in their professional sport for quite some time. Why? Probably because they're easy to play against, aka they're a bit soft. For real. How they can get a bit harder, I think everyone has to, I think Tocchet's mentioned this a couple of times. You keep bringing this up, right? How DiGiuseppe and Joshua are players who work hard, they try hard, they have a high compete. Tocchet likes that. Players have to look to those guys for some inspo, but the easy choice is, make Pettersson the captain and watch the trickle-down effect because his compete level is unmatched on this team. He's been showing that for years and years and years and years. I think that's a good way to really lay the foundation for a different era of Canucks hockey. Again, make Pettersson the captain. the effect will be something else. I know it's probably harder than that. Like you got to bring in some other pieces, but I just think that's the thing that's going to really tilt this notion that the Canucks are soft. It's going to move over to this seems tougher to play against for real.
Yeah, that's an interesting parallel that you make. The Canucks being tougher to play against and Pettersson being captain. That's a very interesting parallel because a lot of old hockey guys out there would probably tell you that Pettersson probably isn't the hardest guy to play against. He's certainly tough to defend because he's an elusive, incredibly creative, intelligent player. But hard to play against, that's not what a lot of old hockey heads would say. But Kyle, you and I, we've been watching the games, okay? We've been watching the
Yeah.
games, and you listen, you've been watching the games. You see it too. Pettersson is hard to play against. He is in battling in the corners a lot, and again, not the biggest and strongest guy in the world, but he uses his size to his advantage. The way he shifts weight to kind of keep guys off of him, so he can have an extra split second to make a play with the puck. Again, that kind of just bodes to the intelligence in his game. So I agree with you there. Does Pettersson being captain necessarily have to do with the Canucks being tough? I have a little bit of a harder time, agreeing
Oh,
with
of
that.
course.
But I'll give you kudos there because I think that's something that we want to see in this market. And as we've said before on this show, Locked On Canucks, it's something that eventually will happen.
Well, bro,
Kyle, I will. Go ahead. Sorry.
okay, so yeah, so you also keep mentioning how it's going to be tough for this team to look a lot different based on their salary cap. Yeah, they can move OEL or buy him out, sorry, and that'll open up some things. But that being said, it's still not going to leave them a lot of room to make this bottom six slash team just look completely different, So I'm saying that the Patterson effect could have such a big impact only because, again, I feel as if the same players are coming back. Maybe one new face into that locker room. But again, I think the culture ultimately needs to change. It's already changing with Tocchet, right? It's already changing with Tocchet. They brought a new guy in. I'm not going to look too much into the results at the end of the season. I'm just bringing up the fact that it's a new guy in, and it happens to be a pretty tough dude. Rick Tocchet, watch the highlights. There's a bit of that change happening. Again, another big thing that can happen is, again, when the face, which is pretty obvious, like Pettersson is the face, but when he has to see he's the captain, I know he's not going to be swearing at guys and being vocal in the dressing room, but again, I could see the trickle down effect because here's the captain who's also the most skilled player working the hardest. It's got to work. It's got to work. I'll put in the hope out there. The sun is shining. Next season matters. I am pessimistic, but again, I'm just trying my best sometimes to just put out best case scenario the rest of the way up until the start of next season.
So Kyle, let me read you another quote from Rick Tocchet from Sunday night because we're talking about Pettersson and his, I guess, underrated ability to play tough. But here's the quote from Tocchet because Pettersson was not mentioned here. Tocchet said, "quote You've got to have the depth guys win battles and keep pucks alive, and we haven't done that the last 3 games." And he's referencing the last 3 losses to St. Louis, Calgary, and LA. "We can't just rely on Millsy, Phil DiGiuseppe, and Dakota Joshua. We need guys to get on somebody as F1 and be sticky. Sticky. You gotta be sticky, Kyle. Canucks gotta be tougher and they gotta be stickier. They're too soft and buttery right now." That's my number one takeaway. My second takeaway is that we've been talking about Pettersson and he was not mentioned there. It was Miller,
Yeah.
DiGiuseppe, and Dakota Joshua. And I think we all know that Miller plays hard, and again, he's rounded out his game since the beginning of the season, where I would say he was definitively not hard. In fact, he was barely back checking at all early in the season. But DiGiuseppe and Joshua, now we're seeing why these, like Joshua got elevated to the Kuzmenko-Pettersson line a couple games ago. DiGiuseppe's been a staple alongside Miller. We can see why these guys are getting the promotion because A, Tocchet likes the way they play, and B, he's got a point. Those guys play tough. They're hard on the boards, and they're reliable defensively. So I think those are 2 guys that, obviously are probably in a better spot going into next season. Maybe maybe more so than we think, especially DiGiuseppe, who again was a fringe roster guy and an AHLer for his first year and a half as a Canuck. Another guy, Kyle, who I think this should bode well for, we just haven't seen it really yet, is Vasily Podkolzin.
Oh, great
Maybe
choice.
give me your thoughts on him going into next season because he's a guy who I would love to see play alongside Miller, but he's got to reach his potential. He's got to earn that opportunity.
Yeah, and I think that's a player that needs to prove it ASAP. Don't you think? It's ASAP time. For real, he had a great first year last year. He looked good early this season. Went to the AHL, did his thing, has been called up. But you're a top 10 pick. There has to be more moments of you in the game. I know he's been in and out of the lineup too, injuries and whatnot. But next season, ASAP, 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 October, November, you got to bring it. And how he can bring it is okay, cool. If maybe you're not scoring all the time, which would be nice, and it's something that we need him to do down the road. But right away, be an impact player every game, and you can do that by competing and being noticeable. And I'm going to use the word that you use, being sticky. Bring something to the table. Be hard to play against. Be a nuisance. Be that guy. And I think for him to get a full-time run with somebody like JT Miller, he needs to first show that, again, he can make an impact every single game. And I don't think that's too much to ask for again a guy that was a top 10 pick, and now he's going to be what, 4 years after he got drafted, 5 years after he got drafted. It's time for Vasily.
Yeah, Tocchet said this about 75% of the guys on the team. I don't think he said this about Pod Colson yet, but got to be a big summer for Pods. He's got to come to training camp looking like a bull in a china shop, to use another cliche. Woo!
All Canadian Angus beef right here, man. That's what Pod Golson has to be on. That I don't even need a lot of beef, but you know what I'm saying? Gotta have that all Canadian Angus beef all summer, man. And push-ups.
Yeah,
Let's go.
For you listening through audio only, Kyle is showing off his tennis ball biceps right now. So good on you, buddy.
Tennis ball, right? I would say what smaller, lacrosse ball or tennis ball? I think a lacrosse ball. Like I said, come on, man.
Yeah, sorry. Maybe a softball. Maybe a softball.
Yeah.
Four guys who have been probably too soft for the Canucks, and I don't think these comments bode well for them. Vitaly Krasov, I know we talked about him a couple shows ago. I don't even know if he's going to be around next season. Jack Stednicka, who is signed next season. Sheldon Dries and Jack Rathbone. Those are four guys right there where I honestly wonder if they have spots on this team next season. Do you think any of those guys have a spot on the opening lineup for the Canucks next year?
I think we have to hope it's Rathbone, because we have to be super, super open to the defense core, looking different, playing different, and having different guys step up. And with the lack of cap this team has, and a lack of change that most likely is coming for the team, we got to hope that Rathbone does it for real. Kratsov, when he first started playing for the Canucks, he was trying to impress. You could tell that, like, I feel as if that was his motivation. I don't think it was. Yeah, it was just one of those things where he got traded to a new team. He may have got what he wanted, and he was trying hard. And for some reason, did it take like 2 or 3 games for him to be like, I did enough? Like, where's my shot with Pettersson? Where's my shot with Miller? You know what I'm saying? And it's that's not good enough, bro.
Yeah, I agree. That's what it seems like.
It's got to be an everyday thing. Like what? Like Locked On Canucks, man. For real. You got to have that Locked On Canucks effort.
Come on, Vitaly. Got to get locked on like Kyle and I here on Locked On Canucks. Yeah, all right, buddy. So in the next segment, I want to talk about the Canucks' suddenly electric penalty kill. But Kyle, before we do that, I need to ask you, have you ever been stressed out about buying tickets at the last minute?
Oh, dude. Of course, man. Of course, man. You're always stressing about that, because sometimes you look at your bank account and you're like, oh, I didn't know I had like a little bit of extra change laying around. Oh, there's a game on tonight? Why not, right? Why not? Now, this hasn't happened recently. The last time that happened was back in 2010. I don't even think that they had the software available. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Times have changed since then. And, Kyle, I'm like you, and I'm a big last minute deals guy. And I got to say, I found that the best place for killer deals on the last minute is Gametime. Kyle, Gametime, they got my back. I get these emails from Nicole at Gametime about once a week, and she's always teasing me with concerts and events this week in our area. And not only are those weekly emails a tease, but Gametime offers me flash deals on last minute tickets. What's even better than that is that they have a lowest price guarantee along with event protection cancellation. Now I have no choice but to get off my rear end and check out a show on a Friday night. That's big for a dad like me. Let me tell you a little bit more about the Gametime guarantee. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Gametime will credit you with 110% of the difference.
Whoa.
Holy.
What?
Snag your tickets
110?
without the stress.
That's
110.
not even
Yeah, that's what
your
the
real
copy says,
numbers.
man. It's 110. 110.
Oh, dude, that's beautiful, man.
Hey, if you want to learn more and snag your tickets without the stress, then use Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Hey, use Game Time. I haven't used it yet, and that's again because the Canucks suck. They're not playing no meaningful games. Why am I going to spend my money on going to games that
Whoa,
don't
whoa, whoa,
don't
whoa,
matter?
whoa, whoa.
Well,
Kyle,
sorry,
Kyle,
man.
you're telling me that you don't want to pay money to watch the Canucks, even though they have the fifth best penalty kill in the NHL since March 1st? What?
Oh man, you're back on Locked On Canucks. Kyle Bhawan, Trevor Beggs, and man, oh man, Trevor Beggs. He's a man of many talents, and manifestation is definitely one of this guy's talents. If you guys knew this guy's story in this thing called life, man, this guy not only predicted it, he made it happen, and he made it happen ASAP. So when I hear this guy talk about, Connor Bedard and the first overall pick and winning the lottery, then I hear him talking about how he's so impressed with this penalty kill and how it's, just changing his perspective on next season. I just don't get it, I just don't get it, man. He's all over the place, man. He wants the team to excel. He wants the team to excel in penalty killing, but he also wants to increase the lottery odds. It's like, dude.
Okay, okay. Kyle, this is mainly for you, but for you listening out there as well. If you're judging me before, hearing the segment, then you got to just listen to what I got to say, okay? Again,
Okay.
the big number that stands out is that the Canucks on the season, and this includes from October to today, April 4th. The Canucks penalty kill is at 70.7%, which is dead last in the NHL. Now it's not quite record-setting dead last. I mean, that was the lowest penalty kill in NHL history was 68.2%, and the Canucks were on pace to be worse than that for most of the season until this month. Now they have their penalty kill since March 1st is 85.4%, which is fifth overall in the NHL. And the other teams up there, the Boston Bruins, the Carolina Hurricanes among them, have the best penalty kill in the NHL this season. So I'm thinking, like, to myself, I started thinking, the Canucks, have they really turned it around to this extent under Rick Tocchet? And so I ran some numbers on it, and the short answer is, what do you think, Kyle? Have they actually turned it
Yep.
around under Rick Tocchet?
I was gonna say the short answer is Demko.
You got it, buddy. You got
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
How did I do that?
it's all been
It's
Thatcher
Locked On
Demko.
Canucks, baby. Locked On Canucks. Kyle Bhawan, Trevor Beggs. Come on, man. We know things, man. The notes are not even open, baby. It's Demko, right?
Look at that, man. Yeah, you're locked on, buddy. So
Yeah.
here, I'll run a few numbers by you. So, the Canucks, they're allowing 8 fewer shot attempts. I mean, the Cole's notes here is that the Canucks are slightly better under Tocchet, but it's mainly the goaltending. They're allowing 8 fewer shot attempts per 60 under Tocchet. So that ranks 17th. They rank 17th in the NHL in terms of shots against shorthanded versus 20th since the end of February. And again, I'm looking at March 1st when the PKs really started to take off because the PK sucked under Tocchet as well for about a month there. In terms of expected goals against, it's almost identical, Kyle. Like, it's kind of crazy. The Canucks have, they've allowed 7.95 expected goals against per 60 at 4-on-5, which ranks 24th since March 1st. They were 25th before that. So again, you look at all these numbers, high danger chances against, they're 20th under Tocchet, or 20th since March 1st, 24th prior to March 1st. But here's where it changes, okay? The save percentage. They have the 9th best save percentage on the PK since March 1st. Before March 1st, dead last. Dead last. And in terms of high danger save percentage, similar story. 9th overall in the NHL since March 1st, 29th before that. So, like you said, Kyle, you knew it off the top. You didn't have to run the numbers. The penalty kill hasn't really changed. I think there's two things that have kind of masked it. A, it's been Demko first and foremost, and B, the Canucks are scoring all these goals shorthanded. So to me, I
Well,
don't think that should distract
that's
from the
not
fact
Demko.
that
That's not
there is work to be done. There is work to be done
Yeah.
shorthanded.
There's work to be done. Actually, I'm gonna say something else. Okay, again. So I said Demko. Demko's the answer. Beggsy said that too. The stats say that. But again, they scored a lot more shorthanded goals. Give them props on that. And what? Like what? When given all the credit to Demko on this, are we saying a lot? Are we discrediting the penalty kill a little bit? Probably, because at the end of the day, doesn't every great penalty kill have a tremendous goaltender? It's probably correlated to some degree. So thanks,
100%.
Stamkos.
But
Thanks,
that
thanks,
being
Stamkos.
said, there are teams like the Hurricanes who legitimately create some offense shorthanded and allow a really low number of chances. Like
Okay.
if you
Well,
watch the Carolina Hurricanes play, it's honestly like a different world when you watch their penalty kill. Like the Canucks have this power kill idea, but they can't execute on it. They just miss their lanes and allow cross team passes. The Hurricanes put pressure on guys, but they managed to maintain their structure. And I've seen the Kraken do this too, actually. It's really a structure where, where the puck is, you have the one forward or one defenseman pressure who is closest to the puck, and the other three stay tight. So instead of kind of wavering all over the place that the Canucks have been doing, both under Boudreau and Tocchet, you have one guy pressuring and three guys maintaining their stance on the ice. So that's the big thing I've noticed in terms of the eye test. And yeah, something the Canucks certainly need improvement on.
Yeah, the penalty kill, man. It's a fascinating thing, and nothing gets me going like talking about again the penalty kill, man. For real,
Woo!
It's one of those things that I
get the
remember
Vaseline out.
way back in the day, 2011. Sorry to bring it up. I'll just bring it up, man, because it's a great story. Okay, so again, grade 12 at the time, high school peak. Just enjoying life. Again, I think it's Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. I'm at McDonald's for lunch, right? I think I skipped every single class that day. I'm not even joking. I think I skipped every single class that day, which was cool because I think I was like a bit of a teacher's pet, and they were cool with it. Like, whatever, yo, just do whatever the fuck you want. We believe in you. Like. Just do your thing, you got C pluses and B's. That's good enough. F your A. You're not getting one of these. Anyways, I was at McDonald's and I remember seeing this province newspaper, and the cover was like #1 in penalty kill, maybe not #1, like #2 in penalty kill, #1 in power
we were.
play.
I think we were. I think we were #1 in penalty kill and power play that season.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So #1 in PP, #1 in PK, #1 in goals, #1 in goals against. Just all these crazy stats. Maybe not #1 again, 1 and 2, but just at the top of the league and everything, points, wins, all that jazz. And then the last thing was like, Stanley Cup ? Or something. And yeah, we were so close to having the perfect season. Pretty much 82-0, but not 82-0.
It's funny for those who never listened to Kyle and I on some of our old shows. Kyle had this rule where he would basically mute me whenever I talked about 2011. And now look what's happened, Kyle. Look what you've done. Yeah. Look who you've turned into.
I got a girlfriend now. I'm soft, man. My heart is healed, dude. I used to be cold. Right. Now I'm a little warm.
Yeah, you're warm and fuzzy, just like just
still
like
got the pink socks on, though. Look at the socks, man. Look at the socks right there, man. Look at that swag right there, man. Who's doing it? Kyle Bhawan, bro, and Trevor Beggs. Locked On Canucks.
The soft Canucks on the team would be proud of you, buddy. We're gonna end the show in comment corner, but before we do that, Kyle, I need to eat healthy right now. Okay, I'm stressed out. I got exams on the horizon. Talking to you is my reprieve for the day sometimes, man. And along with seeing my daughter, she's pretty special too. But, another reason why I'm able to ease my stress is by eating healthy. And one of the reasons I'm eating healthy is because I'm eating Built Bar. If you're like me, where you want to eat healthier, but don't want to compromise that great taste, then man, I got just the thing for you. You got to try Built. With Built, healthy is actually tasty. Seriously, they're so delicious, you won't think they're good for you. So what makes Built so good? Well, for starters, Kyle, you know what they're covered in? You know what they're covered in?
Covered in all natural chocolate.
Oh, yeah. 100% real chocolate, baby.
Yeah.
And you know what flavors they come in, Kyle?
Oh, yeah. You got that churro, and then they got the other two, Trevor. You got the other two.
Yeah, that's true. They got those other two. Yeah, that peanut butter brownie and that coconut almond.
Yeah,
I'm
I like
not
it
sure
when
how
you say it. I like it when you say it. I'll say churro, you say the other two.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll work on it. We'll work on it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how Built does it, but these bars taste like a candy bar while maintaining amazing macros. And what's even better is that they are actually healthy. Only 130 calories and 4 grams of sugar with a whopping 17 grams of protein. So you could order your favorite flavor of Built Bars today at built.com.
Good, man. For real. It doesn't get stuck in your teeth. That's important, man. I keep saying it because it matters, man. Locked On Canucks, Kyle Bhawan, Trevor Beggs. Comment corner, my favorite part of the show. Trevor hates this part of the show. Let's be honest. Let's be real.
That's not true in the slightest, man. Get out of here.
First comment, we got J-Dak from Surrey. Again, J-Dak, if you're watching this, tell your boys in Surrey that Locked On Canucks is Surrey's Canucks show. The dude was at the Kings game. He actually loved the atmosphere, even though the game was pretty crappy. He did say the city deserves great hockey. It does, yo. It does, man.
Yeah,
It's
let me
give
just
us that
let me
product.
take
Look, look
20
what we're just
seconds.
talking about. Go ahead. Go ahead. Do
Yeah.
you think? Do you think?
Let me take 20 seconds. There's all these kinds of people out there, casual fans who don't know what the F they're talking about, who say that Vancouver shouldn't have nice things because they riot when the team loses. That is an absolute joke, okay?
Uh,
The hardcore fans want to see this team win, and they deserve it. There's a lot of hardcore fans in the city who wouldn't think twice about burning their own city down. I mean that's my rant. If people know it already, it's common knowledge that the people that went down there for Game 7 in 2011, they were prepared to create chaos. They weren't not true Canucks fans. Okay, they were not true Canucks fans. Me, Game 7, I stayed home with my old man. I'm sentimental. Okay, want to see a cup win. So
dude.
that's
Okay.
my short/long way of saying that this team absolutely deserves a winner.
Okay, I'm gonna say, there's a good chance that out of like the thousands and thousands and thousands of people that were down there, there were a couple of diehard Canuck fans out there, and I wouldn't be surprised if 1 or 50 got caught up in the disaster because of just like
But Kyle,
just
even if it's 50 people, should 50 people mean that the city doesn't deserve a cup? That's ludicrous.
Well, okay, honestly though, 50 people is a lot. I feel as if we have to be not just accountable, but we have to understand that there is a lot of power in our actions, for real. And maybe we can, maybe not to that extent. I think we've suffered enough. Okay, I'm not gonna put it out there and say we deserve more of this. It's been a long time. It's been 12 years, and holy crap, you broke it down. Unbelievable, Bagsy. Do the math. Holy crap, it's probably happened every single time. Do we not talk about this? How like in 94, the riot happened. How long did it take for the Canucks to be good again? 9 years? 9 years? I think they made the playoffs the next season. They were still pretty good. Okay, maybe like 8 years until the West Coast Express happened. Look at 2011. Look how long it's taken. Is it going to take twice as long? Is it going to take 16 years? Is this our karma? Who knows? I think Bagsy just broke it down. He broke it down. Why are things this way for the Canucks? Because of the riots. Okay, what do we got here? We got Cindy Vincent just waiting for the draft lottery and Petey for 100 points. We did ask the question, what do you want to watch for in garbage time? And she's still excited about the draft lottery, man. Which actually I don't even know if this is a she or he, but Sydney is excited for the draft lottery and Petey getting those points.
Cindy, I completely agree with you. The number one thing that fans should be excited about is the draft lottery. It's just a different year, man. I know. I remember your story, Kyle, in 2016, where you were all bummed when we didn't win the Austin Matthews lottery. And our odds are even worse this time, but there's just something different, okay? Nothing good in terms of draft lotteries that has ever happened in Vancouver. And now we got a
Mm.
generational kid from Vancouver. As a fan, why not just hold out hope until that draft lottery happens? Monday, May 8th, I believe is the draft lottery. It's just a little over a
Wow.
month away. Kyle, you and I'm going streaking if we draft Bedard, man. I'm telling you.
If we get Connor Bedard on May 8th, man, what's gonna happen, bro? I think I'm gonna spend all day, up in the production of this show. Cause it's go time then. It's go time, man. For
That's the
real.
that's the adult decision to do. I maybe I'll rescind my streaking just because I'm a dad now. You don't want to be setting that kind of influence, but
Yeah.
I'll be streaking in spirit if we draft Bedard. That's for sure.
Streaking in spirit. Yeah, we gotta have more riot talk in the off season for real. It's interesting, man. I think we
Well,
should
maybe
interview
we'll
some
watch.
people
We
who
got
are
to
part of
watch
that.
that six. Yeah, well, we got to watch that 60 for 60 documentary too. Maybe
Listen,
I'm
30
sure we
for
can get
30,
that
30 for 30.
30 for
This guy
30. Yeah, whatever, man.
doubled it up, man, because he's that distraught, man. For real. I
Yeah,
guess you could call
I'm
it
rattled,
60 for
man.
60 if they brought up both the riots, which they are definitely gonna do it. Like they're definitely gonna talk about 2011, but they're gonna go back to 94 as well.
Yeah, we're certainly going to talk about that when that doc gets released. 60 for 60, 30 for 30, 99, 90 for 90, whatever. We don't know what we're talking about, but we thank you for listening to this episode of Locked On Canucks, your team every day. Now make your second listen game to game, Locked On NHL. Every moment, every performance, every result. Locked On Game to Game covers every game from across Locked On NHL with local analysis that only Locked On can deliver. Follow Game to Game on Locked On NHL, available on YouTube and wherever you get podcasts. I'm Trevor Beggs. He's Kyle Bhawan. And we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. A couple of softies for listening to this
softies.
episode of Locked On Canucks.
Your Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.